Welcome to Does It DIY, the series where I, a DIYer, am going to take you through a project and we're going to rank it on the triple TC scale. Triple T being time, talent, and tools, and the C, of course, being cost. Is it going to be worth the money that you save in order to do it yourself instead of hiring a professional? Today, got ourselves a 40-gallon water heater. We're going to go through putting it in. I've never done one of these. I've done minimal plumbing, minimal electric. Let's see if I could do a little bit of both and get this guy right, or if I had to call in any professionals, had to call my dad for help. So let's hop straight into this. Does it DIY water heater? So right here we have the unit in question. It is an old GE. I believe it's about 12 years old. So essentially we come down here, we have a sticker with all our stats on the water heater. And essentially, as our furnace kicks on, what I've been told to do, basically just match those stats up, go to Home Depot, grab one, and have at it. We're gonna shut off the cold water coming in. And you probably typically should use a hose. Just gonna let this guy open it up and drain it into our sump basin. It's gonna trigger some people. I know there's some dirt getting in there, but it'll be okay. And just for good measure, we're gonna take a measurement of the height, just because with the hard lines coming in, they should have a little bit of play, I would assume, but I don't wanna mess with it. I wanna get the closest thing possible, just slap it in here and be done. All right, let's see what we got. 40 gallon. Might be our guy right here. Just loaded up our new Rheem. If you can see it back there in the rain. No under the awning pro parking today. Man, there's just something about Home Depot that I love. Like, I don't know what it is. If it's like that I associate Home Depot with like getting stuff done, because every time I go there, I'm getting a job done. Anybody else get like this good vibe when they walk in the doors of a Home Depot, or just me? Am I just weird? The day where I choose to move this around, of course, it just so happens to be pouring out. So it is already unwired. The electrician did that when they checked on it. Just to double check though, water heater off. Okay, so we're good to go and get that thing out. So at this point we go ahead and disconnect the hot line going to the house and the cold water line coming into the water heater as well. At this point I thought that my DIY project would stay perfectly on track. Little did I know what was coming around the corner. Funny story real quick while we're letting this thing drain. This screwdriver I kind of inherited from my dad. Anyways, he's telling me, boy, this thing is older than you are. I got this when I got my first mechanic job, which is pretty cool to have stuff like this still lasting. I believe this is a Craftsman. So the last step before we can get this thing out of here is removing the wiring. And before I do that, I'm going to double, triple, quadruple check to make sure that it's definitely off. We did hit the breaker, but you really never know, and I am paranoid about being electrocuted. So to do that, we break out one of my favorite tools. I use this thing all the time since I've purchased it. A little Klein testing meter pen, just to double check and make sure there are no wires in here that are going to deliver electricity to my body. It's a great thing to have, and I really enjoy using it. If you want to check it out, this and all the other tools and products that you see in this video can be seen down in the description and comments below. Well, I should say all the tools except for the vintage Craftsman stuff. That is definitely staying with me. It's kind of crazy how one of the first things that you learn about using a knife is never cut towards yourself, kids. How do I do it any other way? There's a lot of situations where you're working and you're going and you're kind of going, this is going to end badly, but I'm still doing it. And why am I doing it? I don't know, but I am. Anyways, this is allegedly 100 pounds, but it doesn't feel anywhere close to 100 pounds. So surprisingly, the old unit was relatively light to get out of here. I must have gotten lucky because I hear over and over and over again about how the worst part of doing these jobs is getting rid of the old unit with all the wet sediment. So I guess that this one probably didn't have that much hanging out. I guess we got most of it drained. With that said, let's get the new one popped into place here. It is the same capacity, but it's slightly taller, which gave us a little bit of an issue. Ended up just getting rid of the hard lines anyway, as you're going to see later in this video. So just checking out the old unit here, guys. I did get to the bottom of this, literally. We're kind of flaking away in the corner here. This is actually still a little wet. Yeah, you see it bubbling up here underneath the surface. I don't know if you get a good view of that. There was a bigger, oh yeah, here it is. Bigger rust spot right in front of my face. I mean, I don't know if it's just me being weird, but look at that. That's a pretty looking unit right there. That's what she said. So this part of the video ended up just being a bunch of lies because I changed the plan later in the video. In hindsight, I probably should have just planned to get rid of some of this old plumbing because these valves were junk, and I should have just gotten the flex pipe adapters that they sell to begin with. 10 out of 10 would recommend if you have old plumbing like this. If you think you can get the water heater back in there and just connect what's there, more power to you. But for me, wasn't a good idea to try and do that. Created much more unnecessary work. All right, so it actually took a couple trips, but we have our little T. We have a brass nipple here. This is all brass, by the way, and a brass elbow. So I went ahead and assembled all these little pieces using both thread tape and pipe dope. Went to the internet to try and find a solution here, and of course they helped me by being completely polarized and divided. It seemed like a good idea to use both of them. Again, I'm sure that the commenters will let us know on this video which way is best. I used both. Seems like a double security measure to me, just because this is going to be a long-term thing. I never want to work on it again, so we used both. What would you do here? This is going to be where the video probably gets a little bit controversial because the next part I know they're going to argue about in the comments. I think shark bites are great. A shark bite will be going on this line, so let's get it. Realistically, when you're replacing an electric water heater like this, I'm not really sure why they charge so much because it seems like such a basic job. If you could do a couple of basic things like thread things together and cut pipes with a little tiny pipe cutter that's only a couple bucks and super easy to use, along with doing some very minor wiring. So as you see here, we're threading on the elbow for the expansion tank, and then the expansion tank just pops right on top. Of course, just more threading, and we're almost all the way there. Man, what good is a DIY project if you don't have to take a third trip to Home Depot? You know what I'm saying? Gotta find the right piece. Gotta find the right piece. Oh, there we are. One little piece keeping us from completing our plumbing. Hopefully this is it, at least. Gotta love some of the dumb reasons that bring you to Home Depot. Like this one tiny piece was holding me from the finish line, and I just had to take these female threads and have male threads so that I could screw my line in. That's literally it. Dumbest trip ever for one part. This last piece has a little rubber gasket in there. They say that if it's a rubber gasket, you don't need to go with the thread tape and the sealant. I think I'm going to do at least thread tape. Maybe not the pipe dope, because I don't want to like muck everything up. Hopefully it'll be a little cleaner if I do just the tape. We're going to do the tape on this end. Obviously this end just slides on. So that's going to be the last piece of plumbing. Let's get it in. So the reason that I prefaced the whole shark bite thing a little bit earlier in this video is because I know that at the mere sight of one of these things, people are going to lose their minds in the comments. And honestly, I went down a pretty deep rabbit hole. I'm not sure where they've gotten it from because I talked to a couple of professional plumbers, each of which gave this thing a thumbs up. I also posted something on my own personal Facebook where a number of people were happy to offer up their opinions, and they say that they've had them in place for as many as 10 years with no issues. It seems as if as long as you install one of these properly, which is what I'm doing here, as you can see I'm cleaning up the pipe and deburring, then it shouldn't be a problem and should last you for a very long time. I'm feeling especially safe about it in this situation because, you know, if this thing leaks, it's an unfinished basement, there's nothing really to damage here, and there's a drain right next to it, but I would even feel comfortable putting one of these behind a wall if I had to. One of the things that I kind of hope you guys can get out of this is that I am, you know, a DIYer. I'm not a professional. You'll hop on to like a professional style video and professionals will be like, oh, it's so easy. Well, they kind of come from the context of being a pro and they think that things are easy that maybe some of us DIYers don't. Now, while I'm not an idiot, I've done some things successfully, done a little bit of plumbing, like I said, a little bit of, electrical. I'm not a pro, so I can kind of give that perspective of, yeah, I'm a little bit handy. I think I can do some things well, but I'm not a pro, so I'm not going to think everything's super easy, which is hopefully where the scale at the end of the video helps to grade this, helps you make a decision if you want to do it or not. It's quiet. Oh. Should probably go ahead and turn on the water here. Okay, cool. And look, I'm gonna actually be honest with you. I know a lot of people on YouTube wouldn't admit to this, but I hooked this up to the cold side thinking, I hear water. Where do I hear water? It's a sump pump. I hooked this up to the cold side thinking that it was the hot side, and I was like, oh man, I accidentally switched it up. But then I realized it's supposed to be on the cold side. This is where the DIY factor comes into play. So when you're doing this thermal expansion tank, you're thinking thermal expansion goes on the hot side. No, it goes on the cold side. So just remember that. All right, so our final step here is super easy. You have your black and your red. Black goes to black, red goes to white, and then your ground goes in the ground screw. Guys, literally, if you have done an outlet before, you can do this. All you have to do is twist the wires together, throw a wire nut on them, and call it a day. All right, guys, so here it goes. It's on. It didn't trip. So let's grade this job. Let's go over the triple TC scale here. We have talent, we have tools, we have time, and we have cost. Talent. I think that most people could do this. If you have some basic DIY stuff, especially if you've done any minor electrical work or plumbing work, you should be good to go. So DIY friendliness as far as talent, let's go ahead and give this a 7.5. I mean, the electrical is really just spinning together two wires and making sure that your breaker's off. If you have a tester, you're gonna wanna have a tester to test to make sure the power's off for sure, but it's really just spinning a couple wires together and then putting wire nuts on them. The plumbing, again, screwing some things together, using some pipe dope. You saw what I did. Not very complicated. You know what? We're gonna bump it 7.5 to an 8. I think it is an 8 in terms of DIY friendliness, especially with these shark bites. The shark bites are DIY friendly. You're probably going to see some comments on them. I'd recommend doing your own research. I personally have done mine, and I still swear by these things. So, you know, it is what it is on that. Tools. Tools, again, very basic. Like, you need your pipe cutter, a screwdriver or two, man, other than that, it's pretty simple. Like, you don't really need a lot of tools either. Again, if you're using the shark bites like I am, you don't even need soldering stuff. So tools, I think we're gonna go with a 9.5 out of 10. 9.5, not 10, because if it was a 10, it would just be screwdrivers. You are gonna have to pick up a pipe cutter. Here's the list of tools I used, again, on screen. Reminder, if you wanna pick these up, down in the description below, we have Amazon affiliate links to everything in this video that I possibly can get. I did buy most of my stuff for these pieces at Home Depot, but I think that the same stuff should be on Amazon. And if I don't have the exact thing, I'll link you to something comparable that I would recommend myself from doing this DIY stuff. Time. Now, it did take me a little longer. This was kind of a fly by the seat of my pants project, if I'm being honest with you. I did know that I was going to have to do a water heater here, but the day that I did it, I kind of came into the house. There's a lot of projects I have to do here, and I was like, you know what? Today I'm going to do my first ever water heater. As the furnace kicks on behind me, hopefully you guys can still hear me, but I did it fly by the seat of my pants. If you kind of plan it out, make sure you get your brass pieces here, make sure you have your pipe dope and your pipe tape and your shut-off valves with the water heater connection. I think that it could go a lot easier, but I would say that a DIYer who's never done this before could very easily get this done on a weekend day. Wake up in the morning, 9, 10 o'clock. You could have it done by afternoon time, I think, is a reasonable thing to expect. And last but not least, guys, cost. The cost is huge. We're going to give the cost a 10 out of 10 on cost effectiveness. If you feel like you could tackle this, you're going to save yourself at least $1,000. I just looked at a couple quotes that I received. On the cheaper end, they're like $1,500. Some places charge around $2,000. I feel like that's kind of par for the course, about $2,000. I got a quote for $2,000. It was a little bit better water heater, but even if you gave yourself an extra $400 in the budget for a better water heater, if you wanted it really, you would still be saving $1,000. And to put something in like this, I have a strong feeling they would probably charge you at least 12 to 1,500 bucks. So I feel like on average, you're gonna be saving around $1,000. If you find somebody really cheap, maybe it's more like 500, but either way, for $500, this is a job I am more than willing to do on my own. So guys, before we get to the final score and asking ourselves the question, does it DIY, please don't forget the like button down below. So, does it DIY? I would say resounding yes. I feel like with basic kind of mechanical skills, you can work your way around this one. You can even learn on the fly. I would say that if you have very minimal knowledge, you could learn how to do most of this on the fly. On the overall does it DIY scale, I'm gonna say, let's give this a 9. I feel like this is a very accomplishable project. If you have some skills, I think this is one you could take on and add to your tool belt, so you're not having to drop $1,500 to $2,000 every time you need a water heater. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Hopefully I catch you next time.